So another one of the tools that's really handy for me when I'm working on my projects is the pyRevit match tool. This pyRevit match tool is a slightly, well, it's different than in concept that the Revit's actual match tool. Match tool in Revit matches the element types. So if you match a door to another door, the second door, the recipient door basically takes on the type of the source door. The match tool in pyRevit is designed to match the invisibility graphic overrides that you have on the objects, because Revit doesn't have that tool, or as far as I know, it doesn't have that tool. So let's say I have a element which could be a model element or a detail element, doesn't matter really. Let me, let's say projection, well, these are cut lines. So let's just change that to a color, and let's say also we want to apply a cut pattern to this, and this is the override, the graphics override that you have for this object in this specific view. What is useful is that you can use this tool to match these settings to basically apply these settings to another object. So you can click on this as the source object, and it tells you at the bottom of the screen to pick the source object and then pick the other objects that you want to apply these settings to. And it basically applies the same settings to the other objects as well. And you can also switch between views. Well, after you selected the source object, you can select between views and go to a different view and apply the same visibility graphic overrides to those objects as well. Let me actually try this too. Yeah, because these objects don't have the cut setting. That's why you don't see anything happening on them. But I'm going to try this also on these 2D objects and say I want to change the color, the pattern, let's forget about that. Well, actually, let's do it. Yeah. Okay, it doesn't show anything. I have to change the scale. So yeah, so I'm going to do match, and then I'm going to click on this source object, and then the recipient objects, and then you see that it applies the same visibility graphic overrides to those objects as well. In pyRevit, basically in the pyRevit version 4, any tool that has a black dot in front of it, it means that it has a set of properties of its own. So you can customize the behavior of this tool by itself. So I'm going to undo all these changes. Detail line, view specific elements, match graphic overrides. Okay, so if you hold shift and click on this button, it runs the configuration mode of the command, and you see the window that basically gives you a series of options for that specific tool. Like for example, I can say cut options do not match the cut fill pattern, and then save options. And when you save these options, this tool will remember its settings forever unless you change it again. So it's not going to forget it if you close Revit and open Revit again. Actually, all the customization of this tool, all these changes, is saved inside pyRevit's configuration. So now when I run match tool and I pick this source object, I expect it to not match the cut pattern on, yes, so see, it doesn't match the cut pattern on the other ones. So that's how you can customize it. There is also an option for, let me see if I can create two-dimension objects. Yes, okay. So let's give this an override. So there's a text override, there's a bottom text override on this one. So you can use the pyRevit match tool to match these dimension overrides as well. If you go on the hold shift again and click on the tool and you go inside the settings, you would see that there is a list of options for the dimension overrides. That basically, you can match the text position, replace values, above, below, prefix, postfix values. So I'm just going to use the current configuration. I'm going to say source object and the destination objects, and it matches all those overrides as well.